with the queen. Now that queen has never seen these bees before, and if you put the queen in with the bees right away, they'll sting her to death because they've been with a different queen. And that's their territory. They smell their queen, they know their queen, and that's the only thing they'll deal with is that queen. So she's put in a little box here, and after 5 or 6 days, they don't smell their queen no more, and they start feeding her. And that's our new queen. And I'll get it, I'll put this package in there, I'll take the honey out of it, the sugar box out of it, I'll take the queen, stick it between 2 of these frames, and they'll start feeding. And there's a little cork in the end of this container, about this big, that big, and you take that cork out, and then there's sugar in it. And the theory is that it works. By the time the other bees eat enough honey out of there, enough sugar out of that, they've already been introduced to her, and then she'd go out, and then she does nothing but her job. When I buy a queen bee, she's already made her maiden flight, so she's already produced little bees. Now, all sounds like fun, don't it? So once you learn how to do all this stuff, and I'm not going to go through and put it on because Nancy don't want to get up here and do this all too. You got to do it all with this stuff. Oh, what fun. Because if you don't, and they're mean, you're going to get ate up. Now, if that ain't enough, you got to have a pair of gloves on like this here. And then just because I am cheap and my wife is very good, we put a shirt on like this. And no shorts. And while you're doing this all, you have to remember one thing. Oh, I got to stay calm. Oh, I don't want to rush through it. I just got to take my time and da-da-da-da-da. Well, I'm not that way. I like it. Let's get this done, get it over. And once you do that, they sense that too, I don't know how. And they get mean, and then you have a hard day ahead. Once the bees get established, this is a hive tool. Everything in here is packed tight, and you got to break it apart to get it out of the boxes when they make the honey. So the bees get in here. Now what we do is we take these frames, and everything in this is the same size as my hive. So not to disturb them, I will take the whole section out, and I'll set it in the hive. And then they'll just continue to go in and out of the hole that's on the hive. They just keep going to work, keep going to work. So during the summer, it's my job to make sure there's no bugs in them, make sure they're happy little bees. Always give them more frames. My hives are 26 of these frames long in width. So you just got to keep giving frames. When they fill it up with honey, or when they fill it up with, they'll make that on a frame. They'll make something like this on the frame. When they got one frame full like this, I put another frame in, so they always got plenty to put new stuff in. Because when they run out, Mama says, everything's full, I can't make any more honey, we're full of bees, it's time to fly and get the hell out of here. And I don't want that, because I just went through all this work. Oh, by the way, $175 to $250 for a package of bees that don't have any clue of where they're going, that don't have any idea of what they're going to eat or how they're going to live. They got to figure that all out in 6 or 8 months, because come winter time, either they're prepared or they're all dead. Oh, and I told you, you want to be a bee born about this time of year? You're born in the spring. If you're lucky, you got 60 days. In 60 days, you will have worked yourself to death. That's why she has to produce so many of them. Because you fly out there, fly back. Fly out there, fly back. Look at the first scouts, look out for wherever they can find nectar and pollen and stuff like that. And then they'll come back to the hive and they do the little dance. Who knows what the dance means, but it means something to them. And then the other ones will fly there, and more will fly there, and they'll fly that they're working themselves to death. And that's why she's got to keep doing that. Now, all the bees are born the same. All of them. But they feed them differently, whether they're the worker bees, or guard bees, or brood bees. Brood bees are the ones that take care of the other ones that are getting cast out. Generally, as a rule, when a bee first comes out there, it's like going to service. You don't start out being a general. You start out being just a little peon. And the little peon is nothing but feeding the other bees. And then after they get a little older and a little more accustomed, then they go out being worker bees. And they fly out and bring all that pollen. So like last year was a disaster. For me, we didn't have any honey. Everything, the bees did their job. We had such a drought, it was a hard time for the bees to get enough to live. We fed them sugar to try to keep them alive. But you can't feed them enough sugar to keep them alive. They have to go out and get honey. This year is a lot better, but you can't count your chickens before they're hatched, because every day it rains like this. First thing, they can't go out in the rain. It doesn't do any good. They're gone. And the next thing is, the day after it rains, it's washed a lot of the nectar and pollen away. So you got to wait for that plant to put out new nectar and pollen, and then they go to business. Then they get whatever they can, the shortest route they can. And they're just busy little bees. That's all they're doing, is going back and forth. And that's all I'm doing, is looking to make sure the bees are going in and out. As long as they're going in and out, I leave them completely alone. That was my first problem. Everything was going in and out, and I did look in there. Been doing bees for about 4 or 5 years now, and never had trouble with hive beetles, because they take care of them. There was too many hive beetles in those 2 hives, and they overtook that hive and destroyed it. And so what does Mama do? When things get bad, she gets out of town. She takes and flies elsewhere. Andy's got a picture of that. I don't know if you took care of her. She's a head. She has been for 47 years. Yeah. No, yeah, that's kind of cool too. So when the queen goes, they're all worried about her. It's all about her. So I can walk out there like I am right now and cut that swarm down, shake it over this, and put her in there, and do everything, and they won't say anything. Because it's not important. The queen is the most important thing. That is kind of interesting.
Yeah, see all the big cluster bees, and while I'm not going to get near it, and they're just packing.
They'll kill you in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it should be something. They won't say.
They won't say anything. General. All right, now comes the fall time. My reward. So we take this thing and we fill it up with junk. Newspaper, anything that doesn't have chemicals in it. We start it on fire, and it's a smoker. Now you don't want to give them enough that they feel at home. So everything I got here, you notice it looks a little dingy in that. Everything gets fired, a little torch over it all. That gets rid of infection and they feel at home. For thousands of years they lived in burned out trees. So the smell settles them down. You know, everything's okay, I can smell smoke, and I think it masks your odor in that. So, we give them smoke or sugar water. So if you have a good day, and you work bees during the middle of the day when everybody's out there working, when they're busy, they ain't got no time to sting you. But if it's raining and they're sitting in the hive and all that stuff, and they're not doing anything, and something walks by, well, they don't know if you're smoking a bear or if you're another coon or whatever. You get bit. But if you give them a little sugar or something like that, they'll take care of themselves. So we take the hive tool. There's one other step I should say. So bees get whatever's they know there's honey in it. They can smell it, and they know the hole's right there. But if I put this over there, they'll try everything to get in there. And only the bees from this hive, since they've been in there already, are smart enough to go down underneath the hive and fly out. So this keeps other bees from robbing. All right, where are we? The only other thing is now and then during the summers, if you have, this summer was perfect. There was flowers all the time, you don't have to feed them. But some now and then, they don't have anything to eat, or if you don't have a source of water real close by, you put this on top of the hive, over a hole that's made for it. This is the cover so that they can only get between here and the cover, and then you fill this up with water or sugar water. And then instead of going out, they can come in here and give them extra. But that's like welfare, boys. Once you're on welfare, why would you fly out 100 miles, or, I'm exaggerating. Why would you fly a mile to get just a sick of nectar when you can climb through this hole and get all you want? So you don't want to do this all the time, because they will come dependent on it, and they will starve to death before they go out and do anything else. All right, we've gone through all this lovely process. The reason you put starter strips on is because if you don't, they will put honey on any direction they want. So if you start it out and they learn how to start it out straight, then they'll continue on the process. Otherwise, they'll go any way they want. The reason these two are this way is they were like this here, and that's got that hole in it for feeding bees.
So then you put this on top.
Yep, so then that goes on top right there.
And then it sits on top of the hive like that.
But I didn't put a starter strip on this, because I thought, oh, I'll be okay. And and then they start making these weird patterns and doing everything, which don't make any difference to them. But for me, rotten honeycomb makes a big difference. Because I had to take these apart, as you can see, they work good together. Everything is made for a reason. This is all for the bees to go in between the areas and that. Thousands and thousands of years of beekeeping have taught you how to make frames. So we take our hive tool. We take our frames out of the hives, we put them in a big box just like this here. And then we put it on this level down. Okay. When we get them, they are clear. They don't look brown like this. You see up on top, it's real clear. That's what they look like. And they're all capped. They got little caps on there to hold the honey. Funniest thing, they put their little nest in there at a 17-degree angle. Every one of these is 17-degree angle. So what we do is we take a scraper and we scrape these all open so the hives are open so the honey is exposed. Then we turn it around and we hang it on like that, and that's just enough that they drop off, the honey drops off in here. Then what we do is we'll take a knife and we'll cut out the squares, cut this all out, and drop the honey in there. You do on all the frames you get. And that honey goes into here. And then so you end up with a whole bunch of honey and honeycomb. Then there's a screen on the inside in here. That honey all falls down in there. And you open this gate up. And then you put a screen on this, and then you fill this up with honey. That's the first step. Then you drain it out, and you let it drain until it just won't drain no more. Then you take the honey that's in here, and you go into another bucket. Bring that up. Another strainer. And we dump this slowly into here. So it's strained twice. Now this is important. If you buy our honey and it doesn't have a little junk on top, it ain't our honey. Because there's always going to be something comes through. But that's something you want. If it doesn't have any impurities in it, odds are they squeezed it and put it through a cheesecloth. So ours go through a funnel twice, and then we'll open this up, and Nancy and I will open this valve and we'll fill it up 1 quart, 1 pint Now, here's an interesting fact. Every gallon of honey and every gallon of honey that comes into this country and every gallon of honey that is produced in this country, a third more of that gets sold every year in honey in this country. So when you buy honey and you got it on the shelf for a year and it doesn't crystallize, you might bought some honey. But honey crystallizes. So I want to say this one